Hello, everybody. We got another game for you today. This was a pretty epic game because my teammate actually DC's pretty much at the beginning. Um, so I'm left in a 2v1 versus a Diamond 2 and a Plat 1 in teams, obviously. So take that for what you will. But I thought it'd be a good game to show, entertaining to say at the very least, and just to see how you might play a 2v1 if you find yourself in one, because it's never over till it's over type situation. And I feel pretty good, or I still felt pretty good when he DC'd. So sorry, excuse me. All right, so we got me playing the Ubids, and they're playing Byzantines and Japanese. All right, so I open up with my regular build. Sorry, excuse me. And my teammate's doing his thing. I believe the Byzantine goes the 3 cistern opening. Japanese is doing the 2TC build. So pretty normal. I do feel the 2TC build is pretty weak on maps where you can rush. So this being one of those maps, so we'll see how it goes. So I get a good amount of sheep, which is good. And then we get to feudal pretty much. Slow down here. Let's have a look at my tickets. So I do have 3 trader tickets, and decide right off the bat that I should go trade. So I go to build a market, and then I'm now getting gold to get my 3 traders. I do see that he's aging up pretty slow. He's got his daimyo, which again doesn't really do much for him right away because he has no farms around it, and even he had 1 or 2. He's not really going to benefit from it for the 300 stone that he uses. So this is a huge mistake in my opinion. And he's going up 3 cistern with hippodrome, and yeah, all is normal. I'm pumping out traders whenever I get the gold. I'm starting to build the market there. Japanese finally hits feudal, and naturally he has to go get a lot of wood because he needs production up, and he needs his TC. So he's going to be very delayed getting into this game. So I think the benefit also was that they went both with like relatively eco-heavy builds, and there you can see my teammate DCs. So the first thing that I go and do after realizing this, and something that you should try to do, is take all the sheep from your teammate. So that's what I try and do. Try to get this archer across in time to stop the second TC, but unfortunately I don't get there in time. But I am going up once I get this house up with a lot of trades. So you'll see here I'm at 31. And if we, I don't know, player score, income per minute, can have a look at the income per minute. But 31, they have 24 and 23 respectively. So I am ahead of both of them, not together, but each of them individually. So getting this trade is like the cheapest way to get like a second eco kind of unit out, especially for Ayubids and Abbasid, because their traders are only 40-40 instead of 60-60. So this is great. And he gets his TC up. So now I have a timer, right? So the timer is that I have a window of maybe once I hit castle to try and do enough damage that I take one of them out of the game. And there you can hear me grabbing all the sheep, and so this is going to be important because it means that I don't have to invest wood as early into farms. So hopefully I kill them before that. He comes out with his horsemen and going hippodrome. I'm coming back with the sheep, and I got a lot of traders, and he comes to to raid, right? This is what she should be trying to do. They should be trying to slow me down, but I have camels, and desert raiders are gonna, for lack of a better term, shit on these horsemen. So I get a new round of trade in. I have javelin throwers and more traders, so I'm just getting traders galore. So you can see I'm up to 40 eco already, and he's running around with his horsemen. They haven't realized that I have have trade yet, I pump out 2 more Desert Raiders to deal with these horsemen. And I also want the mobility, right? I want the mobility to be able to protect my trade, to match his mobility. And again, I don't have to really worry about the Japanese player because he's gone like very eco-heavy. So he's not going to have a lot of units anytime soon. And my goal here is to produce units slowly, try to match their unit production, but more importantly, try to hit castle. So if we speed things up here a little bit, you know, I luckily get a pick on a horseman there, and oops, sorry, and I'm chasing down this horseman as well. So eventually, I do see that he's built up a little army, so we'll get to that point in a second here, where he has a bunch of longbow and horsemen. So I get another pick there. This is really good. Any type of damage that you get like this is good. And as soon as I see the units, I run away, right? And then this is the point where I start to add on more units as soon as I see that, right? So I throw in another production building, so I'm going archers to match his archers, and you know, I'll have to deal with probably spearmen. I know they're probably going to build spearmen against my mass cavalry, so having archers is good, and I can always build Desert Raiders out of my archery ranges as well. They do take a long time, you know, 30 seconds, so if I have more production buildings, I can get them out faster. I did elect to get some javelin throwers as well to deal with the archers, so next comes up an important thing. I take away their vision with their scout. And then these are the critical points in the game when you get into your first fights. You always want to try and take fights that you can win by taking advantage of your opponent's positioning. So I see here that, you know, he's moving out and he's trying to wrap around. So I gather my units together. I already moved my food villagers off my berries and wood villagers to my backwood. I want to make sure I don't build any or don't lose any villagers. Meanwhile, I should still be building trade and villagers, and I'm just I'm trying to get to castle here, right? Because at this point they don't have enough to kill me, right? I've seen what their armies are. They would have to invest a lot more and to try to kill me here. So again, I'm moving out here. I want to be posturing, right? So I age up with reinforcements just to get more units, right? I just need units, right? So I see that his army is alone. I don't see Teal's army with him, so this is a good fight for me to take. I have more than him. He's in misposition. He has his longbows at the back, so I get good damage in. I do use the javelin throwers to target down the archers, and then when he goes for my javelin throwers, I bring my javelin throwers forward to my camels, right? And so I clean up all his longbow and 1 or 2 of his horsemen as well as scout. And then as soon as the second army arrives, I back off, right? Again, only try to take fights that you can win. So at this point, there's nothing stopping me from producing units because I've already clicked the age up. I throw out 2 more production buildings, and I want to produce gulams. Gulams are your best bang for buck when it comes to, you know, Ayyubids or Abbasid. And I see, you know, a lot of spearmen, a lot of armed geisha, so I also want to start throwing in archers as well as horsemen. So at this point, it's just building as many units as I can. Right, they're doing their eco things, right? He's got his cistern or 4 cisterns up. He's heavy on gold, so he's probably also trying to go castle now that he's seen me, or he might have seen me go castle, but either way, that's what he's focusing on, which is a mistake. I feel like if they feudal all in, I'd probably die, but he doesn't. And then I get the ping that he's attacking my trade, so this is where the mobility comes in handy. I have 4 horsemen, 4 desert raiders, and a scout. Meanwhile, I'm going out to extra food on the map, so I use up the food under my TC slower. But I still want to keep villagers here. I don't want to move them all out. 1, because it's risky, but 2, if they ever dive my TC, I want to be able to garrison my villagers. So there comes the age up. And it's important also that when you're doing a trade build, that you are buying gold. Oh, sorry, buying food with your gold, right? And he sees the age up, and so he starts to burn down my buildings. At this point, I obviously am fighting on 2 fronts. I don't have my full army together, and even if I did, I probably shouldn't take this fight because I'm getting castle age units out to deal with his feudal age units. So I want to make sure that I get a good mass. I'll let him kill that, that's fine. And yeah, I mean, at this point, what I want to do is I want to posture forward so he stops burning this down so I can keep pumping units out of it, right? I unfortunately or get a lot of damage on my camel there. But again, it's just delaying him at this point, right? The longer I can delay him, the more units I can get out, and I actually do eventually save the stables. So that's really good. I do clean up the horsemen that we're raiding, and where am I doing this with these units? And then I'm going back to deal with the houses, because I do want to take away his vision. Might be a mistake. I should have probably just grouped up my army and fought this, but I do want more Ghulams in. Because he burned down one of my stables, I'm throwing on 2 more stables because I still want the mobility. Meanwhile, you know, if we look at their resources, right? Yellow's castle already, and he has a good amount of food, and Teal's like almost a castle if that's what he wants to do, but they decide to build rams. And the only way to even up a fight where you're behind is with a mangonel, and luckily I can build one in the field, so that's where I produce a mangonel. Okay. And I'm gonna close this. Right, I clean up his houses here, and then it's important that I use these units to good effect later on, and we'll adjust that. So now I have my mangonel up. I can go in and unfortunately that's not a great connection, but I see that he's you know, at this point I just want to protect my mangonel. That's the only important part, right? So he decides to push in. He just decides to try to take this fight, and it's pretty close, right? Longbow shooting from the back, but you know, again, these Ghulams, they just buy you so much time, and I pull my villagers to kill the rams. In the meantime, this army here, right, along with the 3 Desert Raiders that popped out of my TC, are heading towards yellow to try to do damage. Unfortunately, I didn't find this, but I do get some good damage in this wood line. At the same time, I've cleaned up here with my mangonel. I'm still killing the rams, and this is where I get the momentum. I'm in castle, only one of them is in castle, and I start to push across. At the same time, you can see here that I'm about to get good damage in, right? And he doesn't realize, again, you know, these aren't amazing players, right? A diamond 2 and a platinum, and they are fighting on this side. He's probably trying to micro these longbows, and then he eventually realizes, and by this time it's too late. I've gotten a good amount of damage in. And from here on, I just push forward. Again, I unfortunately don't spot this. What I want to do is try and go directly into his base. This probably would have been a good point of damage as well. And then I'm not going to stay here around to burn this up. That's a waste of time. What you want to try and do is you keep hopping to try and find their eco. So I want to kill this quickly to take down the cisterns, right? It takes down the cisterns levels in his base from 4 to 2, which is big for me. Right, it goes from 200% to 100%. I unfortunately don't see this as well because I'm pushing it on the front, right? I want to keep him idled. Unfortunately, this is attacking this, and I want to pull these units in to collapse on anything that he has here. Okay. And then my reinforcements are coming in, right? I'm pumping from, you know, more military production buildings going up, but I'm pumping from as many military production buildings as I can. And what I do here, you'll notice, is I pull my units across to come kill more villagers. I should have switched these guys to ranged, and I probably would have gone a few more. But at this point, he has most of his eco idle except for, you know, this and this. So otherwise he has, you know, 15, 30 villagers idled. I then want to consolidate my army and start to burn down his second TC. And so we'll get right to that. At the meantime, I'm not really sure what yellow is doing. I think he was very mismanaged. Maybe didn't have enough wood or food or something. And he's just producing units now, which is very strange. So, I mean, if we have a look at the current resources, he has a lot of food. Like, he should be producing like crazy. Yeah, he should just be producing Varangian Guard, but he's slow, and that's just, I guess, the difference is he's not producing as much. So I start to work on his first TC, and you know, at this point I probably should have upgraded my Desert Raiders as well, because I had 9 of them, so definitely worth the upgrade. And I'm still streaming units in. and then I want to, instead of burning his farms, I want to kill his main TC. And when you kill a TC, you always want to move your units, if you have a mass like this and they have nothing, to the top right. Because once you burn down this TC, all the villagers are going to pop out of the top right. And so that's going to allow you to kill all those villagers without having to chase them. The other thing that I'm doing here is I'm taking all my melee units and burning down the TC while having my ranged units attack these units up here. Again, still full producing. Make sure that you're always producing. You can see I have pretty much no food. I need to buy more food. You can see food is very, very expensive right now. 170 gold per. And once you see this burn down, we'll see all those villagers pop out, and then they just all die. So this is very nice for me. So you know, when I burned down his second TC at that point, I was like, this game is probably over. And you can see all his villagers just die there. I do see that he's getting up another TC here, and I do see somewhat of an army here. I kind of waste time burning this down. I probably shouldn't have done that. I probably should have just started to head straight to yellow. But yeah, I mistakenly tried to burn this down. It's kind of a waste of time because it doesn't really do anything for him. But another dead landmark. I thought maybe, I think in the moment, maybe they wouldn't give up and I would have to kill all their landmarks, so I just wanted to get it over with. But yeah, at this point I start to move across, and I eventually see that his army's here. And, you know, I'm still in castle. I pretty much have no one on gold because I have a good amount of trade, right? I have 83 eco, which isn't bad for 19 minutes. I consolidate my army and then force him to fight. And what you'll notice here is I charge him with my horsemen, and I turn away as soon as they get close, and let my infantry take the front line, right? And this is important because then the spears aren't directly attacking my cavalry. So, and then from here he just crumbles and he gives up because he knows that it is lost. Teal is pretty much out of the game, and that was my 2v1. Again, they were Plat 1 and Diamond 2. They do play together exclusively, so I don't know if they have comms or anything, but Yellow definitely didn't do enough to help his teammate, but and I got, you know, a little bit fortunate in this game. But yeah, that was the 2v1. I thought you guys might enjoy that and might enjoy some of the reasons and decision making that I made, and if you ever find yourself in this position, because you know the game does crash and whatnot, and so if you're not too far behind, it's worth trying to play it out. You'll always learn something, and who knows, you may even pull out the win. But yeah, if you liked this content, please like and subscribe. Any support does help the channel, and if there's anything that I could improve on or that you saw from the game or any comments that you want to leave me, that'd be great. And if you want to add me in game, this is my game name. Happy to run a game or two with you, or just chat if you have questions. And we'll see you in the next one. Thanks again.